What's going on, good people, and welcome to New Justice Media, where we are your voice for the world. And let's talk about this Buffalo incident that President Joe Biden visited and spoke to. So let's talk justice here. So he did visit Buffalo, upstate New York. I used to live in upstate New York many, many years ago in Utica, so I do know that area. I am familiar with it. So President Joe Biden did visit, had a pretty good speech, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to read that. We're going to talk about it. Whether he was sincere or not, I do not know. But hey, it was quite compelling. And also, I'll give my thoughts. I'll chime in. So let's get to this here. President Joe Biden went on to quote, "White supremacy is a poison," is what he states. "It's a poison running through your body politic," adding that silence is complicity, unquote. And he goes on to quote, "And it's been allowed to grow and fester right before our eyes." He continued, "No more, no more. We need to say as clearly and as forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America. None. Now, sir, you know damn well that's not going to happen, so stop the cap." Now, he went on to add, "People, in America, evil will not win. I promise you. Hate will not prevail. White supremacy will not have the last word. The evil did come to Buffalo, and it's come to all too many places, manifested in gunmen who massacred innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideology, rooted in fear and racism. It's taken so much," unquote. Well, he's not right about the evil, good people. But you see, Mr. Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, sometimes evil has to be fought with a different kind of evil. You see, because power only respects power, sir. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, the president went on to say at the root of the violence is hate fomented by the media and politics. The internet has radicalized, angry, alienated, lost, and isolated individuals into falsely believing that they will be replaced by the other, by people who don't look like them and who are therefore in the perverse ideology that they possess and are being fed lesser beings. Well, Mr. President, it's coming from people who look like you, sir. Now, the president did reject the lie. He said he rejects the lie of white supremacy and called on all Americans to do the same. And he condemned figures who spread the lie for power, political gain, and for profit. But he didn't name specific individuals. But he may know who they are. Now, I don't know if this is a ploy, good people, my social justice warriors. I don't know if this is a ploy to throw shade on the Republican Party, because it goes on to say, pressed on whether Republicans who have promoted the replacement theory deserve blame. Biden told reporters ahead of his departure from Buffalo, "I believe that anybody who echoes replacement is to blame, not for this particular crime, but it's for no purpose except profit and or political benefit, and it's wrong. It's just simply wrong," unquote. But Mr. Joe Biden, you have to understand that there's no excuse for this, because I'm going to get into this, because I did a video on my other channel, the Media Mike Speaks, regarding this idiot who went in here and did this heinous crime. But Mr. Joe Biden, you've given aid to a lot of people that are not of this country, sir. You have. You've let other people come up in here from way across the ocean and given them aid and refuge. So what do you think people to think? Even minorities here. It seems you've taken precedence over other minorities in other countries from across the ocean in times of turmoil over the minorities here in America. But be that as it may, let's continue here and let's talk about this thing about gun reform. Now, Mr. President also addressed gun violence in America during his events in Buffalo. The nation has seen at least 198 mass shootings in 2022, alone per the Gun Violence Archive, which, like CNN, defines a mass shooting as 4 people or more people shot, not including the shooter. Biden highlighted his administration's efforts to combat racism and said that at the event that we have to not only talk about how we're going to end the hate, but who's responsible for generating it, unquote. He goes on to say, quote, "It's not just the wackos," or shows his age, no one says wackos anymore, "who go out there with those guns, who get talked into doing something. It's the people who fill their brains with false ideas, he said. It's people who make them, convince them for their power and their prestige and their money to be able to get out and do these terrible things, unquote. And he goes on lastly to say, that's not who we are, and I'll be darned as long as I'm president of these United States. I'm going to fight like hell, and we're going to expose everybody, unquote. After he said, we don't know who they are, but okay, we're going to expose them. Okay, well, maybe he meaning the people who commit these acts. Now, Josh Geltzer, Deputy Homeland Security Advisor at the National Security Council, on Tuesday suggested new executive actions on guns could be coming, but did not elaborate. We have a firearms problem in this country, Getzel told CNN's Caitlin Collins on New Day. This weekend drove that home, not just in Buffalo, but elsewhere in the country. And so, you will hear more from the president about how we will continue to use executive action where we can to try to protect Americans. Unquote. No, sir. I beg to differ. Now, you have an issue in New York and states like California, the East and the West. You see, you have liberal laws which, in my opinion, keep certain persons from protecting themselves. You see, history brings this out. The reason gun laws were implemented in the first place was to keep them out of the hands of certain individuals, starting with the Native Americans. Now, I find it quite interesting that when incidents like these occur, the targets are not young urban individuals who may subsequently have the ability to arm themselves or be armed. Like I said, power only respects power. So if people don't start to wake up and support the Second Amendment to keep from being at the mercy of the likes of the Buffalo shooter, well, God help us. You see, we need laws that allow every American the God-given right to protect themselves, as afforded by the Constitution. Now, those individuals in Buffalo, New York need to get together and vote, really, to have those laws repealed in New York State. Because you see, they're there for a reason for you to say, well, we can't have all these guns, but you see who has the guns, the automatic weapons, the rifles. So we must decide moving forward, are we going to be allowed to defend ourselves or continue to be prey? Because self-preservation is the first law of nature. Make your play. This is New Justice Media. Subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.